Hi, I'm Amanda Marcotte, and we're here today with Kelley Jo Burke, author of Wreck, a Very Anxious Memoir. And this book is about a lot of things. But one thing that's very interesting about it, Kelley Jo,
Yeah.
is there is a very definite amount of sexuality and sexual moments in it that are just super fascinating and so honest. So why did you want to talk about sex?
Well, because it's part of the story, and it weirds me out actually that we don't talk about sex more, because it's part of our everyday life. Either because we're having it, or we're not having it, or we're done having it, or we haven't started having it. There is a whole sex thing going on most of the time, and we kind of go, and we don't talk about it. And I don't know how to talk about figuring out how I landed in the world and how it worked without talking about sexuality. Also, I have an anxiety disorder. And one of the things my shrink said was that I use orgasms like having an apple a day to manage my stress, which I think is wholesome and cardiovascularly positive. So I just, if you want to know how I live with a pretty complicated anxiety disorder, sex is a big part of it. And anyway, I'm going to read a little bit from the book so that everybody knows what we're talking about, basically, in terms of candor. You're doing the math. Yes, we have sex at least twice, often 4 times a week. That's over 38 years. Some weeks it's 3 times a day. Some months it's not at all. I sat down and figured it out. I've probably had sex with my partner more than 4,000 times. No way, you're saying. Sex gets tired. It gets the 7-year itch, the same old honeypot blues, a hankering for someone who likes pina coladas and getting lost in the rain. Sex settles because of the kids, the money, the fear that no one else will take you now that you have the baby belly, fallen ass, nose hair, sag, because body's at rest, etc. Sex becomes rote with anyone you remember fancying once, but not why, and accepts that a resigned life is better than an empty one. Besides, you are totally too old. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a particular sex addict. Maybe despite my medicinal orgasm requirements, the rest of the planet I can take or leave. But I start to ache for Eric about 3 minutes after we make our particular "that's all, folks" noises and fall back sweaty, eyes closed, taking the extra minute before we survey the damage. Maybe everyone is like this, and the whole getting tired of the same person thing is a myth perpetuated by capitalism to sell us breath mints.
I think it is, and to sell us all sorts of things, and that sex is only for young, people in physical condition.
You know what the classic comic response to discussing sex in your 60s is universally? It's ooh, which, can cramp a person's style. It can discourage you. It can make you feel like maybe you shouldn't be doing this anymore. And maybe this invisibility you feel as a sexual person all of a sudden is appropriate. And I just reject that. I reject it. I'm still alive, so I'm still a sexual person.
And so now, I mean, sex is impossible to write. I think it's impossible, but you've done such a wonderful, wonderful job. So comedy's tough to write. Sex is impossible, but how did you do it?
I think it's partly because I have very limited social intelligence. I'm just really dumb about this stuff. I don't know what people will find offensive because it doesn't bother me. Never has. And so there's a certain level of stupidity that's quite useful to have as a writer. The other thing is just, if the problem with most people writing about sex is they try to make it precious or sacred. And let's be honest, it is precious and it is sacred. It is also hilarious. It is flapping and my goodness, if the angels were watching, they would never stop laughing. That's all I'm saying. I can see the heavens full of them going, oh, So I don't know how you write about it without being funny. but also very aware of how precious it is and how blessed you are if you have someone that you love and you want to keep doing this with for 38 years. Like, what kind of lottery did I win? Holy man. So I just write about it like I write about cooking or what I decided to wear yesterday. It's just life.
You know, Kelley Jo, you say things in your book that everybody thinks, and we're just constantly editing ourselves. So where do you think that comes from, that ability to just tell it like it is, even when it comes to something as sensitive as your own sex life?
It's not that I'm brave. I actually, I gave a reading once in Fredericton, which I found out after the fact is deeply Catholic, that was from a play I was working on, and everybody kind of clapped and left. And then this one woman covered in bangles and smelling of patchouli came up to me, fulsomely embraced me and said, "You were so brave," and then walked away. And I knew I was in really deep trouble. Like I had misread my audience profoundly. It's not that I'm brave. It's that the things that embarrass me are not the things that seem to embarrass most people. And so it is quite easy for me to talk about that stuff. In fact, I'm dying to talk about it because I'm fascinated by it and I think about it a lot. And it makes me crazy that, you know, I can't walk up to somebody at a bus stop and go, "This thing happened last night and I want to run it by you because I think it might mean that there's a problem here, but tell me what you think." You can't do that, not if you want to stay out of custody. So it's quite a relief to do it in my writing.
Well, it's just absolutely liberating to read. It's absolutely liberating to read, and I think people who pick this up and read it will find those parts liberating as well. So pick up this book. It's Wreck, A Very Anxious Memoir by Kelley Jo Burke. You can pick it up at radiantpress.ca. Thanks so much for talking about sex with me, Kelley Jo.
Baby, thanks, man.
Take care. Bye.